I've been really slacking on getting any progress done on my Scotland sketchbook, so I figured I could answer a question that I've gotten while I work on one of my paintings. And the question in question is Rebel Unicorn Crafts. How did you come up with that? I think the best way to tell this is to go word by word. So starting off with Rebel, I went to UNLV for my undergraduate degree. So I have a bit of a connection there. There is a little more to that, but that will come a little bit later. The unicorn of it all starts from a much sillier place. And it all stems around badminton. Now at UNLV, when I was there, they built this magnificent gym facility. And one of my favorite things to do with my friends was to go and work out, or we would often play racquetball or just do a lot of fun things at the gym. And one of my friends, Kim, and I are relatively competitive. And we saw a flyer for some intramural sports, and on that list there was doubles badminton. And neither of us, having played badminton, thought it sounded like fun. And we're always up for a bit of an adventure, so we signed up to do doubles badminton. Now, when we went in, we didn't expect to be very good at badminton, but we did think we should go learn the rules of it, so we decided to go practice one day. And when we get to the gym, something becomes very apparent that we were not quite prepared for. There are a lot of people practicing badminton there. We did not know that the student population there would be so good at badminton. We practiced with a bunch of these guys and they were brutal. And we're like, we need to get our game faces on, because we thought this was just going to be a fun little badminton playing session, but in order to not get totally humiliated, we're gonna have to train for this. So we do. We go regularly and we practice with these guys and we get a little better and better. And we're glad that we're getting better, but we're also nowhere near close to beating them at anything. So we decided to shift tactics. We decide we need a team name, and we want it to be something that nobody can be super excited about being like, yeah, we beat the unicorns, is what we selected. And we went extra silly with it. We made tank tops, and I did a puffy paint unicorn that went all over the front of it. I even got one of those big googly eyes and put it on the eye of the unicorn, and on the back there were rainbows with our last names. Now, the funniest twist of this whole thing is we show up on the day of the tournament in our fully decked out unicorn gear, ready to just be very silly. And none of the people we'd been practicing with had showed up because they took badminton so seriously that this tournament was not on their level, and they knew it. Instead, it became obvious that the people that were there were just actually there as part of some sort of, there was like a sorority game where they got different amounts of points for participating in things. So they had just assigned some girls to show up to this to get their points for their sorority tournament. And since everybody else who signed up for the tournament was using it more as like an attendance-based thing, they were not taking it as seriously as we did. As a matter of fact, none of them actually knew how to play badminton, and so we taught them. And then subsequently won said badminton tournament as the unicorns. Now that you have the origin of both of those words, how did I select them to go together? This really just stems around the fact that I really like things that are kind of the opposite or the antithesis of each other. Like, for example, my husband, he's a metalhead, and so he looks kind of big and intimidating and wears those scary metal t-shirts, but he is such a softie and sweetheart. And so when I was brainstorming brand ideas, unicorn was one of the words that I thought would be funny to put in there. And I was trying to figure out what the opposite of a unicorn was, and I thought, a rebel. And when I had that revelation that those two kind of went together in that way, it really clicked for me, because I have always had the desire to be a rebel and rebellious. And while I do like to rebel against certain things and standards, I do also like to play by the rules, so I find that I take a softer approach to the rebellious spirit of it all. And somehow in my mind, that's how a unicorn would approach rebelling. It would be a little bit softer, full of understanding, and quite a bit of silliness. And also the image of a rebellious unicorn just made me laugh, and I gotta be honest, my motivation for doing a lot of things is to just have a giggle. So that's how I became Rebel Unicorn Crafts. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I still need to add a few more layers on this and some pen details, but I made progress. I hope you're having a good day.